over. It is so over. It is so clearly over, and I cannot understand it. Why isn't there a clambering to sack Ruben Amarim? He is woeful, dreadful, pitiful, totally out of his depth, and not fit to be the Manchester United manager. Being the Manchester United manager is an honour. It is one of the most prestigious and sought-after jobs in world football. And this bloke has got it. This bloke who is so dogmatic about his particular system, tactically inept, dreadful, and so arrogant. I cannot believe what I've just heard. I cannot believe what I've just heard off the back of that truly embarrassing performance against his nearest and dearest. The noisy neighbours have just battered his team, and he has come out and had the audacity to say that he is suffering more than the Manchester United fans. Disgusting comment. Absolutely disgusting comment. Firstly, it's totally inaccurate. Firstly, there is absolutely no way that he is suffering more than the Manchester United faithful. Manchester United fans all around the world who have dedicated their lives and committed their time and their money to following their team. He's been at the job, what, a year? How can you possibly think that this affects you the way it affects them? You are also earning millions and millions and millions of pounds off the club. And you somehow truly believe that there is a world where this hurts you, living in your Wilmslow mansion, more than it does somebody who has dedicated their money and their time to going to follow their team. Their money and their time to watching their team. How can you possibly have the arrogance and the conceited nature to say that? It's a disgusting comment. It really winds me up, and it is factually inaccurate. Ruben Amarim is not the victim here. Ruben Amarim is the cause of the pain. The reason why Manchester United fans are heartbroken this evening is because of you. You are not the one who is heartbroken. You are the one who has caused the suffering. And you have made the lives and the suffering of Manchester United fans almost unbearable since you took the reins of the club. It has not worked. 31 games in charge, 31 points accrued. Nobody in the Premier League who is a Premier League team, last season and this season, nobody has won less points than you. Nobody. And you are talking about suffering. You are talking about potentially being the victim of this. I think it is absolutely disgusting. And I tell you what, he simply needs to go. It's over. The experiment is over. It was noble to appoint him. It was progressive to appointment. Sometimes when you make an appointment that doesn't work, it doesn't mean it wasn't the right appointment. It just means the circumstance hasn't worked. It was an impressive appointment at the time. But anybody involved in this appointment now needs to look at the way that Amarim is conducting himself. He is already saying belligerently that he will not change his system. And if you want a new system, he says you need a new manager. He is basically dictating to the Manchester United board, to Ineos, that he will not change. He will be as dogmatic as he has been since he's been in the job. He will be as lacking in pragmatism as he has been since he has been at the job. He will constantly devote his life to this system that doesn't work. This embarrassing system that simply doesn't work. I mean, when things aren't going well for you at your football club, surely you do the obvious, right? The obvious is you go back to basics. You play players where they're supposed to play. It's the obvious thing to do. You basically go, right, what we're going to do is we're going to do what works. We're going to go back to the basics and the simple issue with the game. You aren't going to play probably your most gifted player in this deep-lying midfield role where it does not work. You aren't going to have a situation where Kobbie Mainoo, one of the best midfielders at the club, one of the better midfielders in the Premier League, somebody who started for England at a Euros final, somebody who won an FA Cup for Manchester United, somebody who was the man of the match in an FA Cup final for Manchester United. You aren't going to have him, a Manchester United graduate as well, by the way, which is significant. You aren't going to have him sitting on the bench, obviously, because he is obviously good enough to play for this version of Manchester United. Whatever you think. There is no way in this world that Kobbie Mainoo should be watching Manuel Ugarte play football. It is just truly disgusting. I mean, they are atrocious. They are beatable. They are out of their depth. And there is just no consequence. It's pitiful what's happened today. And it is totally representative of Manchester United. And it all starts with Amarim. Like, what sort of setup was that from his team today? How easy was it for Manchester City? How simple was it for Manchester City? How unbothered were they? Is Rory massively working? Is he massively struggling to get the result? Is Phil Foden knackered today? Has Bernardo Silva been up against it? Or was it a walk in the park? Like, how much effort did Luke Shaw really put into stopping Jeremy Doku breaking through? he did very well. It was a lovely bit of skill from Doku. He used his body well. He feinted and he went. But what did Luke Shaw really do to stop him? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm not blaming Benjamin Sesko here, not at all. But Benjamin Sesko was completely anonymous. Completely anonymous. I'm not blaming him. I could list 100 problems that are wrong with Manchester United, and I wouldn't mention Benjamin Sesko at all. The issue is Ruben Amorim. The issue is Ruben Amorim. It's so obvious that the issue is Ruben Amorim, and this is why. There's no consequence. There is no consequence. When you are the Manchester United manager, when you represent Manchester United, there needs to be consequence. Ruben Amorim presided over the worst season that Manchester United have ever had in the Premier League. He wasn't sacked. Manchester United had their most humbling and embarrassing defeat, perhaps ever, losing to Tottenham in a European final under Amarim. He wasn't sacked. He has started this season in an atrocious way. He hasn't been sacked. And it isn't only Amarim. There is no consequence for anybody. Bruno Fernandes is the captain of the club, on some level the public face of the club, the captain's armband at Manchester United, one of the most prestigious and heavy armbands in world football. The blood and the sweat and the toil and the tears of Steve Bruce are in that armband. The blood and the sweat and the toil and the tears of Eric Cantona are in that armband. Paul Ince is in that armband. Roy Keane is in that armband. Wayne Rooney is in that armband. Bruno Fernandes wears that armband. He was the captain of the club in the year where they had their worst ever Premier League finish and their most humbling defeat. You pay for that. There's consequence for that. And nobody has faced any consequences. All the players are still there. The only players that aren't there because of circumstance. The only player who had to fall on his sword, the only player who has had to pay for what happened last season, Rasmus Højlund, a kid. Now, he was a terrible footballer and he didn't deserve to play for Manchester United. One of the worst centre-forwards they've ever had. But he wasn't the problem at the club. And the fact that Amarim is still there, it totally and utterly baffles me. Think about the other managers in the Premier League now that are better than the Manchester United manager. Just off the top of your head, Palace have a better manager than Manchester United. Of course they do. Fulham have a better manager than Manchester United. Of course they do. Bournemouth, Iraola is the governor. Iraola is so much better than Ruben Amorim. They don't even manage in the same sport. Iraola, think about what he's done to Bournemouth. Think about what he has done with the infrastructure of Bournemouth. Iraola practically lost his entire back line in the summer and has 3 wins from 4. It just feels like such an obvious thing to do. Play your best players in their best position. And he's just not doing that. I just can't understand why there isn't an uproar of Manchester United fans clambering for the head of Ruben Amorim. Do you know what? I learned something massive about Manchester United today. When you think about the culture of the club, Manchester City fans, particularly Man City fans of my age, right? My mate that I was at university with, quite a pessimistic fellow, regardless of how good Man City are. I think it's years of conditioning and history of Man City. Quite pessimistic. He went into this derby thinking that they were the underdogs. Adam McCullough, my dear friend, felt like Manchester United were going to win the game. So that was the kind of feeling around the club before a ball was kicked here. There was only one team in it. There was only one team up for it. And there was a moment in the game that totally represented the entire footing of the game. There was a microcosm of the game in one foul swoop. All you have to do if you haven't watched the game is just watch this one thing. When Haaland scores his second goal, charges through, he's got Harry Maguire chasing him. And the way that Haaland is running, the way that he is manoeuvring, he looked full of power. He looked full of purpose. He looked full of muscle, like a racehorse, going for that finishing line. And he was being chased by a donkey on Blackpool Beach. That is how bad it was. Just watch that, and it represents the club. Erling Haaland, this Viking, muscular, powerful athlete, charging through. That represents Man City. Whether it works for them or not, that's the ambition, that's the approach. And they were being chased by this donkey on Blackpool Beach, and I just don't understand how it's come to this. When you think about what Manchester United are, when you think about what they should be, when you think about what they should represent, whatever you think about football in this country, do you know there's one thing that I think everybody can agree on? All the tribalism here goes out the window. I'm going to say something that is completely non-controversial. Manchester United undoubtedly have top 5 away supports in the country. And I've said top 5 because I think even Leeds United fans would accept that Manchester United are in the top 5 of away supports in the country. I think that even Liverpool fans would accept that Manchester United are in the top 5. I would say higher than top 5, but I've said top 5 because I don't think anyone will contest that. They just do. It's fact. In this country, the away following Manchester United are top 5. I say higher, but everybody would agree top 5. Their away end was empty. Their away end was empty. And that isn't how they behave as a club. Like, what is happening to this great club? And I don't want Manchester United to do well. I want them to fail. But I want them to fail as Man United. I want them to be... I liked it when Fergie signed Sheringham and didn't win any silverware that year. That's what I like, because they're Man United. They clearly are Manchester United and they fail. It's good. I don't like them failing like this. They're a proud institution of British football, British footballing excellence. And they are being driven into the ground by this non-entity of a manager that people keep trying to gaslight me into believing is good. Well, what is this about? Why are we constantly being told that he knows what he's doing? Or that he is some sort of genius that the mere mortals can't necessarily see? You know, when you try and convince me that you see football on a different plane to the rest of us, you moron. You get battered every week. The manager is out of his depth. The manager is a completely insignificant force. The team are woeful. There are so many players in that squad that are not fit and worthy of wearing that shirt. It's atrocious. Like, what's he good at? You know, I mean, I just don't get it. You know, when they need a goal, they just put Harry Maguire up front. I'm not even joking. That's what I'd do if I was a Manchester United manager. I mean, it's really, really poor. I mean, there's no special tactical power. There's no special tactical knowledge. They need a goal. They stick the big man up front. That is what they do. How is this even a conversation about Ruben Amorim at Man United? I just simply don't get it. And today, when I saw that away following, quiet, reticent, and empty, that is not who Man United are. Anyone that knows anything about football culture in this country will tell you that. Man United, they go away from home. They could be losing 3-0. They will sing until their lungs bleed. They will. They will stay in the ground because it's kind of in their culture to back their managers. It's kind of in their culture to back their team. And their culture is being eroded because they are now leaving away ends. That's just not who they are. Honestly, I can remember being a kid. We beat them 5-0 at Stamford Bridge. The away end was full and bouncing on the 90th minute. 5-0 down. If you look at footage, I think they got done. When they got done badly, was it Southampton? The away end bouncing. Like, they famously do keep their away ends going. They don't leave early. Like, it's different cultures in football. Chelsea, we would leave. I'd leave, personally. I'd be gone. I'm not going to sit there and watch my team lose 5-0, singing and dancing. That's not how I see football. But I respect that the Man United culture is not to leave. They've left the derby. Like, it's a derby day. And of course they've left. They've witnessed. They're sitting there while the entire Etihad is doing the Poznan with half an hour to go. Because their team hasn't turned up. Because Luke Shaw is not fit to wear the shirt. Like, that geezer should stick to doing TikToks with like girls off Love Island or whatever he likes to do. He should stick to doing TikToks with girls off of Love Island. He's not a footballer as far as I'm concerned. One of the most overappreciated footballers of all time. So distinctly average. And actually a real problem at Man United now. Massive contract. Sort of the embodiment of where it's gone wrong. You give massive contracts to massive players and it goes wrong. So that's how it goes sometimes. So I will leave it there. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it... Sorry, I've thrown myself. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like and click subscribe. In a bit. Ta-da.